Listen up, you anime-only casualties. If that absolute banger of a season finale left you foaming at the mouth for more of my glorious king, then congratulations. You've stumbled into the only place that matters, as we're picking up right where the anime dropped off, diving headfirst into the manhwa madness. And guess what? We're dropping these bad boys every single week. So smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and buckle up for the next level of solo-leveling insanity. Let's go! The chapter begins in a dungeon where a man was practically shitting bricks as a dark figure loomed over him. Desperate, he asked the creature what it was, but creepy grandpa, not paying him any attention, simply muttered, "He's not the one either. They're hiding cleverly, aren't they?" The brilliant fragments of light, the tension in the air was suffocating. Creepy grandpa suddenly sensed another presence and turned to find Yogamont, the monarch of transfiguration, just casually standing there like he owned the place. Yogamont came bearing news, something about the East Island. Creepy grandpa scoffed, recognizing it as the land of the Shadow Monarch. He asked Yogamont if he was planning to deal with that place. Yogamont told Creepy Grandpa that the rulers had decided to unleash their legions south of the island, and he intended to take it for himself. Creepy Grandpa was both amused and skeptical to hear this. He then asked Yogamont about the Shadow Monarch. Yogamont smirked and told him that if the planner fulfills the contract, it'll be fine. Then he dropped the bomb that the greatest fragment of brilliant light has been confirmed to be in that place too. That got Creepy Grandpa's attention. His eyes gleamed with excitement as he said, "You came all this way just to tell me that?" But before their scheming could go any further, Creepy Grandpa suddenly stiffened. He was sure that something was off about this situation. He then told Yogamont that they had been lured here. Just then, another figure stepped into view, radiating hostility. Creepy Grandpa observed him carefully, then sneered. That guy earlier couldn't possibly wield the power of the brilliant fragments of light, so why was there a trace of it here? Then he went, "Ah, I see. You plan to get in our way." The man's eyes burned with fury as he spoke. "That small island to the east. You mean Korea, don't you?" Creepy Grandpa, ever the arrogant prick, taunted and asked Ilhwan, "What is he going to do about it?" Yogamont, growing impatient, reminded Silad that they didn't have time to waste on nobodies. But Creepy Grandpa wasn't done. Smirking, he turned back to the Ilhwan and challenged him, telling him to try and stop us if you can. That was all it took. The Ilhwan lunged, shouting, "I won't let you escape." His attack came fast, but Creepy Grandpa blocked it effortlessly with an ice shield, grinning like this was all a game. As the air around them froze over, he prepared to counterattack. And when he did, the entire area exploded into chaos. Meanwhile, inside the Red Gate, Drippy Woo's Shadow Army was already farming these monsters like XP in a low-level dungeon, but the boss had the audacity to act tough. This oversized fool took one look at Rizzy Woo and laughed at him. Jin-Woo was nothing but a bug, or so he thought. Jin-Woo just smirked, gave the signal to his shadows, and suddenly the forest started spitting out shadow soldiers like a horror movie gone wrong. The Shadow Army made quite an entrance holding his minions' heads. The boss, now realizing he fumbled harder than a beginner in ranked mode, tried to call for backup, but all he got in response was a corpse flying at his face like a disrespectful delivery service. Jin-Woo, standing there like an emperor watching peasants beg for mercy, hit him with the coldest line. Asking the boss to call me small now? Desperation hit, and he screamed at his remaining henchmen to do something, anything, but it was already too late. Jin-Woo's army was already tearing through them like a hot knife through butter. Tank was out here bulldozing fools, clearing the path for Jin-Woo like an unpaid bodyguard. Seeing his forces getting folded, the boss finally snapped and charged straight at Jin-Woo, thinking he still had main character energy. That lasted all of 5 seconds before Baru and Igris tag-teamed him like they were auditioning for a WWE match. Baru sliced off an arm, Igris took a leg, and before the boss could even process the L he just took, Tusk stepped in, flexing his inverse gravity, slamming the guy to the ground like he owed him rent. Pinned and defeated, the boss could only watch as Jin-Woo casually strolled up, looking like death itself, and said, "Now you'll answer my questions. It'll hurt less if you do." The monster, now in its "I regret everything" arc, barely had time to process before its miserable existence was cut short. Standing over the lifeless body, Jin-Woo sighed, thinking how the system still wasn't giving him anything. He muttered to himself about how this had to be some kind of interference, but he shrugged it off, thinking that he'd get his answers sooner or later. Then, reaching into his inventory, he pulled out the key from the cursed random box, the key to Cartonon Temple. As he examined it, a countdown appeared, ticking down the time before he could enter. Flashbacks hit him as the memories of that dungeon, The nightmare that started it all flooded his mind. But this time, things were different. This wasn't the weak, desperate Jin-Woo of the past. This was Drippy Woo, the aura farmer. And if the system was calling him back, then it better be ready for what was coming. Jin-Woo stared at the key in his hand, the countdown ticking down like a time bomb. He wondered if all of this was all planned from the very start. Was the system just sitting there, waiting for him to return? Meanwhile, somewhere deep inside the dungeon, an ominous entity sat in the shadows. Hearing Jin-Woo's words, it smirked. Whatever was lurking inside Cartonon Temple was waiting for its rematch. The scene shifts to Jin-Ho, who is sitting in the office, handling business like a wannabe corporate overlord. He scoffs at complaints from the people he sued, calling them crybabies. After finishing his work, he leans back, convinced he's wiped out all the slander against Jin-Woo. But just as he starts to relax, the man himself materializes behind him like a ghost. Jin-Woo casually says, "You sure are working hard." Jin-Ho, still getting used to the fact that Drippy Woo moves like a damn ninja, can only think, does this guy even make noise when he breathes? Jin-Woo asks if there's been any trouble. Jin-Ho reassures him that everything's running smoothly, and then immediately gets distracted by Jin-Woo's outfit. Before he can ask, Jin-Woo tosses a bag full of magical cores onto the desk, saying, "You said we needed money for the guild." Jin-Ho, seeing that, grins and says salaries won't be an issue anymore. But Jin-Woo looks at him confused. Jin-Ho reminds him they still need to hire another guild member, which means they actually have to pay someone. Jin-Ho, nodding with fake seriousness, suddenly brings up the real crisis at hand. They need a guild name. Jin-Woo, thinking it's something urgent, looks at him unimpressed as Jin-Ho dramatically declares, "This is very serious." Jin-Ho starts throwing out the worst names imaginable. Sungyu Guild, Wooho Guild, Jinjin Guild, like he's running a kindergarten naming contest. Jin-Woo, probably tired of the nonsense, decides to call it Solo Play Guild, with the most nonchalant explanation. After all, it's a solo play guild. Jin-Ho stares at him, wondering if that was supposed to be a joke. Before he can question it, a knock at the door interrupts them. Jin-Ho goes to check and is stunned to see none other than Mommy Cha herself was standing there. She asks if this is Jin-Woo's guild office, and Jin-Ho, still processing, nods. But when he asks why she's here, she hits them with the unexpected. She tells him that she wants to join their guild. As they sit down, Jin-Woo, still making sure he heard that right, asks her to clarify. And with zero hesitation, Mommy Cha simply repeats what she had just said. Jin-Woo stares at her, completely lost. He wasn't sure what the hell was going on. He asks Mommy Cha if the chairman told her to join, or if maybe Hunter Choi got tired of her and kicked her out. Mommy Cha shakes her head, saying that's not the case. Jin-Woo, now serious, leans in slightly and asks, if that's not the case, then why did she want to join his solo player guild? Mommy Cha blinks, caught off guard by that ridiculous name, and asks if he seriously named it that. Jin-Woo, unbothered as ever, replies, "Yeah, what's wrong with it? The Vice Master and I agreed on it." Jin-Ho immediately protests, saying he never agreed to anything, demanding he reconsider the names he had suggested. Meanwhile, Jin-Woo silently analyzes Mommy Cha's pulse, her breathing, and her expressions. She's trying to look calm, but she wasn't fooling Jin-Woo. Jin-Woo questions her contract, pointing out that it's only been 2 years since her awakening, meaning she's still bound to the Hunters Guild. But Mommy Cha casually says she has enough money to pay the penalty. Jin-Woo, now even more confused, wonders why she was so desperate that she was even willing to pay a fine just so she could join his guild. He tells her the guild isn't exactly rolling in cash, so they can't offer her anything close to what she's worth. Mommy Cha shrugs it off, saying she doesn't need a down payment. Jin-Woo narrows his eyes, still not buying it, and asks, "Then why join us? There's nothing for you to gain here." Mommy Cha hesitates, her mind racing. She wasn't sure how to explain this situation to this dumbass. She was concerned that no matter what she said, it would sound insane. At first, she was just drawn in because his mana didn't smell like the others, but during the Jeju Island raid, she really thought I was going to die. But then Drippy Woo saved her. The scene shifts to the past where Mommy Cha wakes up in a helicopter after the raid. She groggily asks the chairman where they are, and he tells her they've just landed at the Hunters Association and that she'll be sent to the hospital soon. But Mommy Cha's only concern was Jin-Woo. She asks if he was the one who saved them. The chairman confirms it, and Mommy Cha, still processing everything, thinks, so it wasn't a dream. The memory lingers in her mind of how she barely survived this time, but she was concerned thinking about next time. She wonders, what if a situation comes where she can't escape death? Back in the present, she struggles to put her thoughts into words. her face slowly turning red. She wasn't sure how to tell Jin-Woo that she wanted to stay by his side till the very end without making a fool of herself. Jin-Woo watches her, now even more confused. He wonders, why was Mommy Cha acting all strange? As Mommy Cha tries to pull herself together, he grows more impatient. He asks her if she was planning to answer him. He can see she's hiding something. Finally, he asks again, and this time, Mommy Cha snaps out of her thoughts and quickly says, "I just want to live comfortably. Is there a problem with that?" Jin-Woo stares at her, thinking, Mommy Cha is only 22, and being an S rank must be exhausting for her. Even though her words don't fully convince him, he can tell there's more to it than that. Mr. Aura Farmer watches Mommy Cha closely. He knows the hunters took a beating during the Jeju Island raid, so he gets why she might want to change. But just because she wants in doesn't mean he's handing her a free pass. He told her that if she wants to join, then she has to pass the entrance test. Mommy Cha raises a brow and says, "That wasn't in the recruiting notice." Jin-Woo, being the menace he is, shrugs and tells her that maybe the guild vice master made a mistake. It's a new rule. Mommy Cha asks about the test. Jin-Woo smirks and told her that she has to beat one of his summons. She narrows her eyes and asks if he thinks that she was that weak. Drippy-Woo doesn't even hesitate and tells her that for her he'll use his strongest summon. That wipes the smugness off her face. They stand up and she asks, "When's the test?" Drippy-Woo, never one to waste time, simply says, "Right now." He suggests using the gymnasium at the association and starts thinking this is the perfect opportunity to test whether he can use shadow exchange with two people. He steps in close, his voice low. Wrapping his arms around her, he told her that she didn't have to leave, as he'd use a shortcut. Bro was rizzing, and he wasn't even aware of that. Mommy Cha barely has time to process before he adds, "We just have to stick together for a bit." And just like that, darkness engulfs them. Meanwhile, Jin-Ho walks back into the room, arms full of snacks, only to be greeted by a massive high orc staring right at him. They lock eyes in pure confusion. The orc, completely unfazed, casually snatches a snack from Jin-Ho's hand and devours it in one bite. Back in the gymnasium, Mommy Cha stares around in shock, wondering how Drippy-Woo had done that. Drippy-Woo internally was celebrating his successful experiment that confirmed his theory that shadow exchange works like a gateway, meaning he can transport people with him. He refocused and told Mommy Cha it was game time. Mommy Cha frowns, telling him that she doesn't have a weapon. Jin-Woo's eyes gleamed as he asked her if she was talking about the pickaxe. She looks at him, all embarrassed, telling him that wasn't her weapon. Mommy Cha lets out an exasperated sigh before heading to the storage room. She glances over the collection. The weapons aren't amazing, but they'll do. Picking out a sword, she steps back into the gym, ready. Mr. Aura Farmer eyes the blade. He asks her if she was sure, as this wasn't her usual weapon. Mommy Cha doesn't even hesitate, telling him that it doesn't matter, as the monsters never fight on our terms anyway, so she'll make do with what she has. He respects the answer. Jin-Woo knew that an ordinary summon wouldn't cut it. He needs to give her a real challenge. He raises his hand, summoning Igris. He told Mommy Cha that among my soldiers, he is the best swordsman. And just like that, the room darkens as Igris steps forward. Mommy Cha, sizing him up, asks, "What are the conditions for winning or losing?" Jin-Woo lays down the rules for her, saying that you either win by destroying the summon or lose when you surrender. Although he had promised that he'd use his strongest summon, but throwing Baru at Mommy Cha would just be bullying, so he decided against it. Once they're both ready, Jin-Woo signals the fight to begin. But the moment Mommy Cha starts gathering mana, something clicks. Weapons don't matter, huh? That line keeps playing in his head. He suddenly stops them. Jin-Woo reached into his inventory. Out comes the Demon King's longsword, a weapon that could turn most hunters into dust with a single swing. He tosses it to Igris. Igris doesn't waste a second, activating the sword's ability and sending a devastating wave of electricity straight at Mommy Cha. But before it can land, she dodges effortlessly. Jin-Woo watches, impressed. Thinking how she's expected to be, she's fast. If that had even grazed a normal hunter, they'd be toast. The battle escalates, and with every clash of blades, the sound reverberates through the building. This, of course, does not go unnoticed. In his office, Chairman Go Gun-hee frowns as no one was supposed to be in the gym today. He calls for the CCTV feed, and when the footage pops up, he's greeted by the sight of Mr. Aura Farmer and Mommy Cha throwing hands. As he watches them, a memory resurfaces of Cha's face when she found out Jin-Woo was the one who saved her. He chuckles, thinking how he really was blind. With a smirk, he orders the cameras shut off and the logs altered to say no inspection took place. He leans back, content to let the chaos unfold. Meanwhile, in the gym, Jin-Woo is staring at something he hadn't expected. Mommy Cha had kicked Igris's ass and was standing victorious over him. She dusts herself off, looking at Jin-Woo expectantly. She asks Jin-Woo if this really was Jin-Woo's strongest shadow. She knew Drippy-Woo was holding back, and she wasn't having it. He told Jin-Woo to summon his strongest shadow. Jin-Woo hesitates. He told Mommy Cha that she might get hurt, but Mommy Cha scoffed and told him that she'll be fine. Jin-Woo's expression shifts as a dark aura swirls behind him. Shadows rise, and a chilling presence fills the room as Beru emerges. Jin-Woo looks her dead in the eyes and asks her again if she is sure about it. All right, you damn cheeky bastards. Just like we had promised, we are back with another episode of Solo Leveling. So settle down because shit is about to get real, as Mommy Cha is going to be fighting that overdramatic bug, and Mr. Aura Farmer will accidentally unlock the romance skill tree, and boy, he has no idea how to go this route, so sit and enjoy. The chaos kicked off when Mommy Cha, fresh off her W against Igris, turned to Jin-Woo and said, "All right, you said you'd bring out your strongest. Summon him." Jin-Woo, ever the menace, just smirked and hit her with the classic, "You might get hurt," but Mommy Cha wasn't backing down. That's when the air got heavy, the lights dimmed, and a dark aura swirled behind Jin-Woo as he summoned Beru. Jin-Woo even double-checked with Mommy Cha. He again asked her if she was sure that she wanted to do this, because while most shadow soldiers were diet versions of their living selves, this bug was brewed in the depths of hell specifically to exterminate hunters. If he went all out, Mommy Cha's chances weren't just slim, they were practically non-existent. But my glorious king ordered Beru to just defeat Mommy Cha and not to harm her, saying that if he does, life won't be easy for him. Beru being the over-dramatic bug he was put on his puppy face, but he also whipped out his claws ready to go overboard. Then he let out a powerful screech that shattered every light and window in the building. Mommy Cha stood there processing this like, Jin-Woo actually fought this thing? Meanwhile, Beru fully transformed, flexing his intimidation stats, but Jin-Woo immediately nerfed him like a dev working overtime. He told Beru to put those claws away. Life's going to get real hard if you scratch her during the test. Beru, scared straight, retracted his claws instantly. Mommy Cha, seeing an opening, lunged at him, but before she could blink, Beru had already teleported behind her. Mommy Cha thought this again. She wasn't going to fall for the same trick twice, or so she thought swinging her sword, but Beru caught it like it was a toy and casually let it go. Then, just a flex, he turned to Jin-Woo and said, "Give me the word, and I'll humble her without even touching her." And oh, did he mean that. Mommy Cha kept attacking, but Beru didn't even need to move, he just casually dodged everything like he had Ultra Instinct on at all times. Then, out of nowhere, he got all up in her personal space and let out a banshee scream so loud it sent her flying. My glorious king, who was watching everything from the sidelines, realized that the bug was out of control and he had to intervene. But Mommy Cha wasn't about to take that L. She stood up, still determined, and Jin-Woo could only wonder what she was thinking. Beru, on the other hand, wasn't questioning a damn thing. He went full predator mode and charged, spitting some philosophical nonsense about prey and predators. Mommy Cha barely dodged, then gathered up all the mana she had left and launched an attack. It hit, but Beru's exoskeleton was built different due to the impact her sword shattered like cheap plastic. But that was her plan. She baited him, using her skill, Sword of Light, and finally managed to pierce through his armor. That should have been a win, but instead it triggered Beru's old Queen-issued programming. Suddenly, all that loyalty to Jin-Woo took a back seat, and Beru muttered, "This woman is my enemy." And that was when shit got serious. His aura flared, and he was about to go for the kill. Jin-Woo ordered him to stop, but Beru wasn't hearing it. Mommy Cha closed her eyes, ready to accept her fate, when suddenly an explosion occurred. When she opened her eyes, Jin-Woo was standing there, having intercepted the attack like it was just another Tuesday. Beru, snapping out of it, immediately dropped to his knees, begging for forgiveness, but Jin-Woo wasn't even mad. He was too busy looking at Mommy Cha. He wondered, why was she trying this hard? This is just a test for my nameless guild, not life or death. What are you doing all this for? Then this dumbass straight up asked her if she was into him. As Jin-Woo asked that question, Mommy-cha.exe stopped working. Jin-Woo, still not convinced, thought to himself that it can't be an absolute queen, like Mommy-cha can't be interested in someone like him. But before he could process it, she hit him with the softest, quietest. I think that might be the case. The scene shifts to good old America, where Michael Connor and Mrs. Sellner meet with David, the director of the Federal Bureau of Hunters. David, looking like a man who's about to have a migraine, asks why they failed to recruit Jin-Woo. Michael, clearly still recovering from the trauma, explains that, according to Mrs. Sellner's observations, my glorious king is one of the top dogs. The director raises an eyebrow, questioning if that means Jin-Woo is on par with national-level hunters. Mrs. Sellner sighs and starts explaining what she saw when she peeked into Jin-Woo's soul, saying, "Normally, awakened hunters borrow power from a place called the other side, and she can sense that connection. Some hunters shine like beacons, radiating energy so intense she calls them kings. But Jin-Woo's connection was non-existent. Instead, the moment she looked into his eyes, the abyss stared back at her. He wasn't connected to the darkness. He was the darkness." The director, suddenly realizing how ominous that sounds, hesitantly asks if that makes Jin-Woo evil. Mrs. Sellner shakes her head, saying that he is not evil, just different. Every other hunter borrows power. Jin-Woo is power. He's not bound by any external connection, which means there's no limit to his growth. Michael, now visibly sweating, confirms, "So you're telling me there's no cap to his strength?" Mrs. Sellner nods. David takes a deep breath, thanks her for the intel, and tells Michael to follow him. It was time for Plan B. They descend to level 24, a basement straight out of a classified government horror movie. David, still thinking about how to handle Jin-Woo, tells Michael they need a new approach, asking him if he remembers the first ever S-rank gate. Michael nods, saying it was quite hard to forget, as that disaster wiped out the entire West Coast. David recounts how America recruited the strongest hunters in the world for that raid, promising them riches beyond imagination. Only 5 survived, and they were rewarded with authority equal to an entire nation, thus the birth of national-level hunters. Then came Kamish, the inextinguishable flame, the dragon that turned top-rank hunters into charcoal. Hundreds died fighting it, but in the end, there was a silver lining. As the elevator doors open, Michael's eyes widen. There, preserved in cold storage like a legendary relic, is a runestone carved from Kamish's corpse. David smirks, thinking how it's been 8 years, and we still don't have a mage-class national-level hunter. But Kamish is about to give this great nation one last gift. Meanwhile, Jin-Woo stands in the shower, staring at his reflection like he just unlocked a new DLC skin. He can't believe a girl actually confessed to him. Him, the guy who spent years being treated like dungeon fodder, and not just any girl, someone like Mommy Cha. He starts analyzing himself. His height shot up, his physique got chiseled, and even his skin cleared up like he just ran a K-Beauty speedrun. Maybe it's all the buffs from will to survive? He's deep in thought when an idea strikes. He marches into Jinha's room, playing "How Would You Rate Me?" Jinha, not even looking up, asks, "In what?" Jin-Woo, fully serious, responds, "My attractiveness." She finally looks at him and then bursts out laughing. She asked him where the confidence was coming from, telling him that, in her eyes, he'll still look like a bum. Jin-Woo's ego takes a direct hit. Jin-Woo casually drops a bombshell on Jinha, telling her he's planning to start his own guild. She raises an eyebrow, asking if he is going to be the big boss now. She teases, already texting her friend about this breaking news. Meanwhile, Jin-Woo, dead serious, asks what she thinks of the name Solo Play Guild. Jinha gives him a look of pure disappointment, asking what had possessed his dumbass when he came up with that name. Jin-Woo actually considers this and realizes she's got a point. He asks for suggestions, and she throws out Ajin Guild, explaining that Ah means I and Jin means to go forward. Jin-Woo mulls it over, liking the sound of it. Meanwhile, across town, Mommy Cha is in full panic mode. She's flopping around on her bed like a fish, replaying today's events in her head, thinking about how she basically confessed to Drippy-Woo, wondering if Jin-Woo will think that she is insane. But then she rationalizes Jin-Woo did save her life. It's only natural she'd be interested. Yeah, no, she's doomed. Then, in the middle of her spiral, something clicks. When she was unconscious, she saw something, a hand reaching out, a voice pleading to her to tell Jin-Woo something. She looks back and recognizes that it was Byung-Yu. He was telling you to tell Jin-Woo that he must be careful of the power within him.